So last week was the NFL spring meetings where all the coaches and all the owners come together and they vote on proposals. And of course, the NFL added a rule this year where there's going to be assistants from replay officials up in the booth to help with egregious calls. There could be referees going on strike, which is a massive issue that I think we will talk about more once it gets official. That's not getting covered a lot in the media right now. The NFL also passed a new rule to where if you are, even up in a game, if you score, you can declare an onside kick. You still have to declare the onside kick, but it brings back potential relevance to, hey, if you want to steal a possession, the surprise onside kick, if you will, is still going away. But maybe a team that feels like, if you can't stop a team, you just scored. If you want to go for an onside kick, then certainly you can do that. Um, I think the one thing that is being completely underplayed by what came out of the NFL spring meetings last week is that the NFL is actively searching for new TV media rights deals. And I wanted to talk about this today because I think there's a lot of significance to it. So, the NFL as a product, ladies and gentlemen, we know is pretty much unmatched. I think like the top 20 shows or something like that on television, 90 out of 100 are all NFL football games. And I've talked about this a lot before. It's usually been a summer topic, when the likes of CBS and Fox and ABC and NBC come out with their fall schedules. But I am not a fan of this new phenomenon in sports of let's give exclusivity to streamers. I've talked about this before with Christmas games on Netflix, about Thursday night games on Prime. I've even talked about, Raw on Netflix. I'm not certainly the biggest fan of. And, you may say it's a ridiculous thing to think about, but it's true. I've had, multiple family members in my life in nursing homes, in hospitals, and those places don't have streaming. And there are people out there, and again, if you go to grandma or grandpa's house or you have a relative that, doesn't have internet connection or cell phone, because believe me, those do exist out here in today's world, how are you going to watch the game? And so to me, you shouldn't have to worry about gathering at somebody's house and worrying about how the hell am I going to watch this game because it's a Netflix exclusive and I need good Wi-Fi and all that stuff. I think we sort of take that for granted in today's society. But the NFL is actually significantly underpaid when it comes to their media rights deal. If you can believe it or not, the NBA has NBC paying more for Sunday night basketball than it does for Sunday night football. And I've talked about this a ton where my biggest fear is that, and the NFL, I don't care what these networks, NBC, ABC, Fox, and CBS say, the NFL is what drives their television market. And if the NFL were to not be on CBS or ABC or wherever, if they're not on broadcast, I actually think those networks would fold. And, CBS has popular reality shows like Survivor and Big Brother that I'm into. Obviously, Fox has their Master Chef and their animation shows. Um, you know, NBC has their comedies. A big fan of Appy's Place. Um, St. Dennis Medical is also on there. You have the PD shows. ABC obviously has shows and Dancing with the Stars, and they have other sports as well. All these networks, but the NFL is what drives them. And so my fear was Netflix was going to get the A package, the CBS package, and Prime was going to get the Fox package, or, maybe they went with a model where, with NFL Sunday Ticket, you'd have to pay per game or something along those lines. I do think that they need to make NFL Sunday Ticket a package where you could pay for teams or even just your team. I think that would be a smart way to do it because it's all about access. And, I've heard multiple people and guests like Sean Fitzgerald has come on this show and said the NFL was navigating a slippery slope and the NFL's product is going to go down and the NFL may turn into the NBA, which, by the way, spoiler alert, on Thursday's show, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the State of the Union of the NBA because I really do feel like it needs one. Um, do we get to that point with the NFL? No, I don't think so. I think that gambling and obviously all these aspects of it, I think the NFL product, if you will, could be in a dangerous position. I'm not denying that, there are gambling aspects of the television product now that don't look great on TV. I think the NFL is fully leaning into the fact that everybody is on social media. I hate the fact that Fox doesn't even have the scoreboards on the bottom line of games anymore. I don't like the fact that CBS got rid of their score bug this past season and basically put the scores of the other games in the top left corner, and it didn't show any stats or who or where the ball was. It just kind of showed who had the ball and what yard line. I didn't like that at all this past season. I want to see the full score bug back, whether it's on the bottom of the ticker or whether it's at the top of the screen. I want to see stats. I want to see where teams have the ball. I want to see everything so I can flip to those games as someone who pays for NFL Sunday Ticket, not just because I'm a out of market Philadelphia Eagles fan, but because I love football. I'll pay for every single NFL game every single season because I'll sit for 12 hours on Sundays and I'll watch football because I love the National Football League. But I am nervous of what's going to come out of this streaming deal because the NFL is looking to negotiate new TV contracts with all their partners. And obviously, ESPN is now in bed with the NFL and NFL Network. The NFL is looking to take away the doubleheader Monday night game, which I did like sometimes when we had the two Monday night games that were simultaneous with each other. I did not like the ones that started on the West Coast at 7 and East Coast 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. But I did like the simultaneous Monday night games. Those games are going away, and the NFL is going to reportedly create a package around those games. Whether it is a Thanksgiving Eve game, whether it is the international games, the NFL wants you to pretty much have Peacock, ESPN Plus, ESPN Unlimited, Paramount Plus, the new Fox One streaming service, Hulu, along with cable, along with, ESPN and the broadcast side of it, Amazon Prime, obviously, maybe HBO Max. I mean, they want you to have everything and they want to make as many national windows as they possibly can. And I get it. We see it around the holidays. There's football on Thursdays. There's football on Saturday. There's football on Sundays. There's football on Monday. But it is diluting then the Sunday afternoon product. And that's what I'm worried about because the witching hours, as we like to call it, the sort of 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, early window Sunday, where you have those six games and they're all coming down to the wire, is great theater. And I get it. The NFL wants to put the Rams and the Eagles and the Bills and the Broncos and the Packers. The best part about the NFL is, it doesn't matter market size. They just want to put the best teams on national television that'll give you the best rating as much as possible. I get it, but are we going down this path to where Thanksgiving week we're gonna have a game on Wednesday night, then we're gonna have three games on Thanksgiving, so that's four games. Then we're gonna have a Black Friday game, so that's five games. Okay, then we're gonna have a Sunday night game, so that's six games. Then we're gonna have a Monday night game. Okay, that's seven games. Okay. Um, you know, if there's bye weeks in there, maybe there's two or four teams on a bye, so that could reduce then the Sunday afternoon slate. Now you're reducing it to either eight or seven games total, nine at best on a Sunday afternoon slate. So you'd put five or six in the 1 o'clock window and only three in the 4 o'clock window. Theoretically, obviously, they can do that, but I feel like it just dilutes the product a little bit more. And there is a such thing as too good of a good thing. And listen, I'm a big of an NFL fan, I'm a big of a sports fan as anybody. But when you've got football on, including college, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and there's other shows on that you want to watch because sports is not your whole life, it does get exhausting and we do have to sacrifice and we do have to make family choices. I mean, I've said it. I have watched more college football this past season than usual, but I am always a bigger NFL fan than college fan because I'd rather sacrifice my Saturdays to do family activities than sacrifice my Sunday. Now, some people are the opposite. They'll sacrifice Sunday. They want to spend all day Saturday and watch college ball. But football cannot consume our lives, even the most dedicated sports fans. And, this is even true when it comes to the baseball playoffs, obviously in October. And when we get to fall, and you've got the MLB playoffs, and we've got the college football playoffs now, we got the NFL, and it's on almost every single night. And then you got wrestling in between that. I mean, there is a lot to watch as a sports fan, and we do have to pick and choose our battles. I've talked about this when it relates to wrestling. I don't know how you can be a WWE fan and an AEW fan and a TNA fan and a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan. It just doesn't work because there's so much content. We are in a content sort of just intaking, and I think we're taking it for granted. And the point is, I think the Thanksgiving Eve game, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I think it's a mistake. I actually think the primetime Thanksgiving game is a mistake. And that may even go to a streamer now. An opening night may even go to a streamer. I do think we're getting overly complicated with this. I mean, I think it's very simple. You got the Lions game at 12:30, and they moved it to 1 o'clock this year. I know that, but typically it was 12:30 Eastern. You got the Cowboy game at 4:30 Eastern. And then the rest of the night, you know, you're free. Go out Black Friday shopping. And I know to me, it is smart by the NFL to do the Amazon Prime game with Black Friday because you can go online and shop on Prime along with the game, obviously. But it's like you can go out, you can have fun, you can have family time. And family time should not just be meant to sit around the couch and watch football during the fall. It should be meant to go do activities, go eat at a nice restaurant, enjoy the time with grandma and grandpa, enjoy the time with people that may not be into sports as much because our time with our relatives are precious. That's sort of my PSA for today. I'll be very interested to see what CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox do pay. Obviously, they all have their streaming services now. Peacock, Hulu with ABC. You got the Fox One streaming service now in Paramount Plus, which is going to merge with HBO Max. But to me, this is an underlying potential disaster that's not being talked about is these NFL media rights deals. And when they get finalized and we see what these networks pay, and CBS and Fox already know they're going to get a reduced amount of games, I can't see why they're going to be happy with that. Like that clip from the Brand's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand's World podcast right here on YouTube.